Welcome to today's deep dive. If you're joining us right now, maybe you're on your commute, making breakfast, or just needing a moment to yourself, we have something completely unexpected on the agenda today.
We really do. It's definitely not what you'd expect.
Right. Today, we are exploring a transcript from a YouTube video by a channel called Speak English with Class. And the title is English Podcast for Easy English Conversation, Talk About Daily Routines for Better Life.
Which, I mean, sounds like a very straightforward language lesson.
Exactly. So if you're wondering why we're looking at something designed to teach English vocabulary to non-native speakers, just bear with me. Because in the process of defining these vocabulary words, this lesson accidentally delivers this incredibly profound psychological masterclass on modern burnout.
It really does. It breaks down the hidden power of ordinary routines way better than, most self-help books out there.
Oh, totally. Our mission today is to explore how a simple language lesson manages to capture the modern human condition so perfectly, because it's just so accurate.
It is a fascinating piece of material. You go into it expecting a straightforward breakdown of grammar and definitions, and you walk away feeling like you just had a deeply revealing therapy session about why your own life feels so exhausting right now.
Yeah, a therapy session you didn't even know you signed up for.
Right. And the core premise we are looking at today centers on this very human tendency. We are practically conditioned to look for massive, dramatic life changes to fix our unhappiness. Like when we feel overwhelmed, we just assume the solution is to quit our jobs, move to a different country, or, I don't know, entirely reinvent our personalities.
So I burn it all down and start over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the reality is that our emotional baseline is dictated by quiet, seemingly insignificant daily habits.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I know there is someone listening right now who really needs to hear this. If you are feeling constantly overwhelmed by information overload, or if you're waking up exhausted every single day without a clear, obvious reason why, this deep dive is specifically tailored for you.
Yes, because the source introduces this concept early on, and it's called the strange middle place.
The strange middle place. I think anyone navigating modern adulthood knows this exact place. It's not a full mental breakdown, but it is certainly not a massive breakthrough either.
No, it's just that highly relatable moment where you find yourself standing in the kitchen, holding a cup of lukewarm coffee, and just staring into the open fridge.
The fridge therapy session. You aren't even looking for food. You're just staring into the cold air, hoping the ultimate answer to life's biggest problems is somehow hidden right behind the yogurt.
The yogurt holds all the secrets. But seriously, the fridge therapy session captures the physical weight of modern exhaustion so well. And it highlights that flawed thinking we just mentioned. When people find themselves staring blankly into the fridge, they mistakenly assume they are waiting for one giant fix or one magical moment to cure that heavy feeling.
Right. They think, I feel terrible, therefore there must be a giant dramatic problem in my life, like a life-changing mistake I need to identify and solve immediately.
But that is rarely the reality of burnout. People are not usually falling apart because of one massive cinematic crisis. They are being worn down by hundreds of tiny, quiet habits that slowly drain their battery over time. I mean, it is one rushed breakfast, it's one late night scrolling on a phone, it's one stressful morning commute.
And because none of those tiny habits seem like a big deal on their own, we completely ignore them.
We brush them off, we just think we should be able to handle it.
Which is exactly how we end up learning our first major vocabulary word from this lesson. The creator teaches the word depleted. And they define feeling depleted as feeling like your mental battery is entirely weak.
Notice they don't say you're in a state of total collapse or profound grief.
No, depleted is just this quiet, lingering realization. It is waking up and immediately asking yourself, why do I feel so drained already? It's that physical sensation that everything in your day, every email, every conversation, every task just feels 50 pounds heavier than it actually should.
And that heaviness naturally leads to the second phrase they highlight, which is going through the motions. To teach this phrase, they describe the act of doing things automatically. You are answering the emails, you're washing the dishes, you are sitting in the afternoon meeting, nodding and smiling politely at your coworkers.
Just doing the physical action.
Exactly. But internally, you are completely disconnected from the experience. You are functioning, but you aren't really present. It is the feeling that your own day is happening to someone else, and you are just a spectator trapped in the body doing the chores. Your heart and your mind are entirely disengaged from the present moment.
There is a specific line used in the source to describe that exact feeling of going through the motions, and it is painfully accurate. They say your body is present, but your soul is still buffering.
Oh, that is so good.
Isn't it? It is a funny image at first, but when you really sit with it, it's a brilliant description of modern fatigue. You are physically standing in the room, but internally, you are just a loading screen spinning endlessly. You are trying to catch up to the reality of your own day, but the connection is just too weak.
It is a striking visual, just a spinning wheel right in the center of your chest. And if these tiny daily habits can slowly drain you to the point where your soul is buffering, we have to trace it back to the source. Like, where does that draining feeling actually begin?
And the answer might be uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Oh, very uncomfortable, because it usually starts much earlier than we want to admit. Very often, the entire trajectory of your exhaustion begins in the first 30 minutes of your day. A chaotic morning does not stay contained in the morning. It actively follows you. I love how it's phrased in the lesson. A bad morning has a very special talent for ruining an afternoon that was otherwise completely innocent and ready to cooperate.
The idea of an innocent afternoon getting ruined by a bad morning commute is just perfect. The afternoon didn't do anything wrong, it was just minding its own business.
Right. It was ready to be a great afternoon.
But the morning had already started a small war. Let's look at the vivid picture painted in the source of what this average morning war actually looks like. You wake up late, you grab your phone, the absolute second your eyes open, like before you even sit up in bed.
We all do it.
We do. You immediately read 3 messages that irritate you, and then you get a completely random promotional email trying to sell you shoes at 7:12 a.m.
Shoes.
Yes, like the internet is somehow highly confident that 7:12 a.m. while you are half asleep and vulnerable is the absolute perfect time for you to buy a pair of shoes you never even asked for.
It's so absurd.
It is. So you delete that, you skip breakfast, you rush through the hallway, and you leave the house already feeling mentally behind. You've been awake for 20 minutes and you're already losing.
What's fascinating here is how that chaotic routine is used to teach the word overstimulated. When you start your day by grabbing that phone, it instantly throws your nervous system into an overstimulated state. You are forcing your brain to handle too much input, too much noise, and too much information far too quickly.
There is zero clean space in your mind.
Zero. Before you have even walked into the bathroom to brush your teeth, your brain has already processed work notifications, terrifying news headlines, short videos, somebody else's highly curated success story, and that random shoe advertisement. Your nervous system is completely overloaded before your feet have fully registered the floor.
And that sheer volume of early morning noise leads directly to the word used to describe the rest of the morning: frantic. Frantic isn't just being busy. A frantic morning is rushed, panicked, and fueled entirely by chaotic energy.
It's a very specific feeling in your body.
It is that physical state where you are doing a million things at lightning speed, but absolutely nothing feels organized. You are frantically looking for your car keys while simultaneously rewriting a stressful work email in your head. You are drinking your morning coffee, not because you enjoy the taste, but because you are treating it like emergency medicine.
Emergency medicine, yes.
And my favorite part, you are putting on a single shoe with the frantic, desperate energy of someone actively trying to escape a natural disaster.
Just fighting for your life in the hallway.
Exactly. You finally manage to leave the house, but you carry this lingering, awful feeling that you forgot something crucial. Sometimes it is your wallet, but sometimes it is just your peace.
And when you launch yourself into the day with that kind of disaster escape energy over and over again, you're eventually forced to run on empty. Run on empty is another vital phrase taught here. It means continuing to operate when you have absolutely no fuel left inside.
Just fumes.
Just fumes. You keep moving, you keep answering the questions, but you have nothing left in the tank for what the day is demanding of you. This is a particularly dangerous modern habit. When we feel this way, our instinct is to be harsh with ourselves. We think we need to be stronger, or we need to push ourselves harder.
But the reality is, we simply need a gentler start to the day. If the morning feels like a high-stakes race that you never actually agreed to join, of course the rest of your day is going to feel like an uphill battle.
You're setting yourself up to fail.
Here's where it gets really interesting. How do we fix a frantic morning without making our lives even more complicated? Because we really need to debunk this toxic idea of the perfect routine.
Oh, absolutely. The internet has ruined the word routine for us.
It really has. The antidote to a frantic morning is not adopting an impossible, highly polished internet influencer style lifestyle. Let's be honest, if you are listening to this right now, you probably do not have the time or the resources for a routine that requires 12 expensive skincare products, 2 hours of uninterrupted silence, and the emotional discipline of a mountain monk.
A mountain monk. It's so true. The expectations are wild.
We are not trying to wake up at 4:30 a.m., sit in a meditation cave, drink a complex green juice, and achieve total enlightenment before sunrise. As it's so beautifully grounded here in the lesson, most of us are just trying to find our socks and remember who we are. We need routines that offer actual support, not theatrical performances for social media.
That distinction between support and performance is exactly why the word intentional is introduced as the true antidote. Being intentional means making a conscious choice. It is the direct opposite of living automatically or randomly.
Right, it's taking back the steering wheel.
An intentional routine is not about waking up early just so you can feel morally superior to everyone else. It is simply about choosing not to start your day like you are being physically pushed down a steep hill. The beautiful thing about an intentional morning is that it doesn't even need to be long. It just means bringing a tiny bit of thought and awareness to those very first actions you take when you open your eyes.
It is about giving yourself permission to ease into the day. That's another great phrase from the source. Instead of waking up and instantly entering a gladiator battle with your email inbox, give yourself 3 minutes of basic human existence.
Just 3 minutes.
It sounds entirely too simple to work, but it does. Drink a glass of water before you start treating coffee like medicine. Open the curtains and look at the actual sky before you look at a screen. Give your mind the chance to physically arrive in the kitchen alongside your body.
That goes right back to the soul buffering idea.
Exactly. The goal is to stop crashing into the morning and start entering it softly. We just need a little less aggression at 7 a.m.
And maintaining that softness requires you to consciously carve out space throughout your day. The phrase carve out is used here to mean deliberately creating time for something, even when your life feels intensely busy. You cannot sit around waiting for free time to magically appear because it won't.
No, it never does. Your calendar will happily fill itself if you let it.
You have to carve it out with intention. Because if you don't carve out those quiet moments, you inevitably end up feeling frazzled. The analogy used to explain the frazzled mind in this lesson is perhaps the most accurate description of the modern brain I have ever heard.
Oh, it's incredible.
Being frazzled is that exact feeling when your web browser has too many tabs open, and you know for a fact that one of those tabs is playing a loud, annoying noise, but you have absolutely no idea which one it is.
If you are driving right now, I bet you are nodding your head because we all have those noisy mental tabs open. It's maddening.
You're just clicking around desperately trying to find the source of the music.
And if we don't carve out space to close a few of those tabs, we fall straight down the digital rabbit hole. We have all experienced this trap. You sit down on the couch with the simple, innocent intention of answering one single text message from a friend.
Just one text.
And somehow, 25 minutes later, you are deeply engrossed in reading an article about the history of completely unrelated architectural styles, wondering how on earth you got there.
Or watching a video of someone restoring an antique toaster.
Yes. The digital rabbit hole is incredibly easy to fall into because our brains are exhausted and looking for an escape. Routines actually act as emotional guardrails to prevent this friction. They are not just productivity hacks, they create familiarity. And familiarity tells the nervous system that it is safe to calm down.
That sense of safety is paramount.
There is a great joke in this material about how adulthood is sometimes just getting genuinely excited because you laid out your clothes for tomorrow and realizing that act alone provides actual emotional stability.
It sounds like a joke, but preparing your clothes or taking 10 quiet minutes after lunch really is a profound form of emotional stability. These small habits send a crucial message to your brain. They say that your peace matters. They say that your energy is valuable and that you refuse to let every single part of your life feel chaotic and reactive.
You're making a choice.
You don't have to schedule your day like a rigid military operation. You just need a few reliable, steady anchors. And nowhere is the need for these steady anchors more obvious or more ignored than at the very end of the day.
Let's talk about the end of the day, because the way we treat our evenings is fascinating. We tend to treat the evening hours as the emotional
The
leftover.
leftovers. That is so painfully true.
By the time 8:08 p.m. rolls around, you are likely overstimulated, mentally tired, and probably a little irritable. And instead of winding down, we just sort of drag ourselves toward bedtime without giving the day any real sense of closure.
The reality of how people spend those evening hours is both hilarious and deeply tragic. People will sink into their couch and declare that they are finally relaxing. But if you look at what their version of relaxing actually entails, it involves becoming deeply emotionally invested in 15 complete strangers arguing with each other in an online comment section.
Reading an argument you have absolutely no stake in.
None. Or they will decide to check just one last work message right before brushing their teeth and somehow end up doing intense, anxiety-inducing research on a completely unnecessary topic at midnight.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
We feed our brain all of this chaotic, high-stakes input, and then we lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering why our brain is suddenly hosting a massive, loud conference when we were just trying to sleep.
We are actively doing things that keep the brain on high alert while trying to convince ourselves that we are resting. And this is exactly where the concept of a restorative evening comes into play in the lesson.
Right, restorative.
If an activity is restorative, it means it actively helps you recover. It puts energy back into your battery, it calms the mind, and it gives something back to you rather than demanding more of your attention. A restorative evening doesn't require a spa. It is just dimming the lights. It is putting the phone in another room. It is taking a warm shower or reading a few pages of a physical book.
It's stepping away from the glowing rectangles.
It is deeply understanding that rest is not just the physical act of falling asleep. Rest is the deliberate action you take before sleep to signal safety to your body.
That is the crucial takeaway about evenings. Rest is how you prepare your nervous system to feel safe enough to finally let go of the day's demands. Knowing how to actually stop is becoming a rare and underrated life skill.
It really is a skill you have to practice.
You have to know how to soften your environment. You have to know how to let the day officially close rather than dragging all the stress, the noise, and the open tabs of the daytime directly into the bed with you.
So, what does this all mean for you right now? We have explored a language lesson that somehow turned into a perfect mirror reflecting our frantic modern lives back at us. If you are listening to this and realizing your days feel heavy, messy, rushed, or strangely empty, please remember that you do not need to execute a dramatic life overhaul by next Tuesday.
Please don't try to.
Right. You don't need to quit your job and move to a cabin in the woods. Real, sustainable change happens so much more quietly than that. It is drinking a glass of water before the emergency coffee. It is setting down the screen a little earlier in the evening. It is consciently choosing to step away from the noise and deciding you no longer want to live every single day in survival mode.
Just opting out of the morning war.
The goal of all this isn't to build a flawless routine so you can impress strangers on the internet. The goal is just to make your nervous system feel safe again. It is to make your days feel like they actually belong to you instead of feeling like they are just happening to you while you go through the motions.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this raises an important question. We've seen how small, steady, intentional routines can quiet the frantic noise of our lives and bring us back to ourselves. We know how to avoid the 7 a.m. shoe sale emails, how to climb out of the digital rabbit holes, and why we need to stop having midnight arguments with strangers online.
We know the mechanics of it.
But if we actually strip away all of that constant noise, all of those distractions, and all of that frantic energy, what are we actually left with? Perhaps our resistance to building these simple, quiet routines isn't a lack of discipline at all. Maybe, on some subconscious level, we actively keep our days frantic because we are completely terrified of what we might hear if we finally let our own minds be quiet.
Now that is a thought to chew on. Are we choosing the chaos just to avoid the quiet? I am going to leave you with that provocative thought to mull over on your own as you go about the rest of your day, hopefully with a little more intention and a little less frantic energy. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the hidden power of our daily routines. We hope it helps you find a little more space to breathe. Until next time, take care of your nervous system and remember to let yourself fully arrive.